They built a glass paradise way too high, then the bubble pop. The silent sound of foreclosure signs are all over town. I got a bad loan, a promise they believe. Now the dream is over, they're feeling deceived. I watch from the sidelines, patient and cool, playing by a different set of rules. All I wanna do is, and I can do is take the window. All I wanna do is, and I'll cash your heart and watch the funds grow. This is straight up capitalism, chip, chip, boom. Sweeping up the pieces with the concrete boom. Wanna do, wanna do, wanna do. Get a call from my contact, a whisper on the phone. Another empty unit, the speculator is gone. He says a shame with a crocodile tears. He sells me their future for a fraction of last year. The paperwork's easy, a cash only deal. That heartbreak and panic is my next big steal. They get a cardboard box, I get the ocean view. It's nothing personal, it's just what I do. And a casual body, take your condo. And a casual body, and watch the dance floor. This is straight up capitalism, chick, chick, boom. Sweeping up the pieces with the concrete broom. When I do wrong, when I do wrong, when I do. Some myself ask for a quick return. Some I rent out, let the lesson burn. They call it a crisis, I call it a sale. In this concrete jungle, the strongest prevail. No funny business, I am the business. They sold you a lead, I now I'm the witness. Seek your condo. Seek your condo. Watch the funds grow. Watch the funds grow.
Happy Thursday, Miami. This is Condo Capitalism. Today, we're going to be talking about how 20 condos are on the market. Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, the South Florida region. 20 condos are for sale right now today, owned by the bank, for less than $100,000 a door. These condos are coming in less than $100 a square foot. At the same time, you have luxury condos going for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a square foot down here in the Tri-County, South Florida area, but you got a chance to pick off 20. So if you are in the distressed condo market, what could either be a REO, which stands for real estate owned, also means bank owned, also means foreclosure, also means lender owned, that and or short sale. Short sale is a situation where somebody buys a condo, they take out a loan, they need to sell that condo, and all the offers coming in and all the valuations are below what's actually owed to the bank, and therefore a seller, who's also a borrower, will bring in another buyer, they'll go to the bank, they'll do a tri-party deal, and ultimately the seller takes a haircut, they lose what they got into it, and the bank is asked and ultimately decides to come up short and getting repaid on the money that is owed to them. That's called a short sale. Typically, you got a short sale, and if a short sale can't get pulled off, it ultimately turns into a foreclosure about 12 months later or so down here in the South Florida area. That's what's going on in the condo market. We're going to get all the details. We're going to be giving you some specifics if you are a distressed buyer, you're trying to play that distress game. For instance, one of the examples we're going to be giving you is what is the breakdown between the overall condo market and the vintage condo market, which is those condos that are at least 30 years old or older, the ones that are under greater scrutiny as a result of the tragedy up in Surfside nearly 5 years ago. That occurred in June of 2021 when the Champlain Tower South went down. Nearly 100 people died. $1 billion settlement was paid out to the families of the victim. That has led to all kinds of changes in the state of Florida, including mandatory inspections by licensed architects, licensed engineers, which have contributed to required, mandatory, necessary reserves, capital reserves, and Combination of all of that is leading many condo owners to head for the exits. And if they couldn't get the price they needed, many of them are now faced with dealing with the distress market where buyers come in, typically all cash. They get significant discounts. And typically, if they do it right, they are in the money from day one when they purchase. And that's based on using something called the 1% rule of real estate investing. You don't know what the 1% rule of real estate investing is? This is what private lenders will use when they're going ahead and they're financing particular property. Some people used to call them hard money lenders. I did. Now they're trying to reposition it and they're calling themselves private lenders. Basically, real expensive money will go ahead and finance basically when no one else will. And one of the common approaches they use, at least on the initial due diligence, is to use the 1% rule, which is $1,000 a month rent equals $100,000 of value. $10,000 a month rent equals $1 million of value. So the market today in the Tri-County, South Florida area on the distress side, there are some opportunities increasingly coming online. And that's what we're going to be discussing today as we sit here on April the 30th, 2026, the last day, the final day, the end of the ever important South Florida winter buying season, which is the time when people come to town for an event. They come here for a vacation. They come here for a cruise. They catch the bug. They start chasing condos. Ultimately, they find a place. They negotiate. They go to close. And the closings typically occur in the summer buying season. Summer goes from May through October. And the winter, the ever important shopping time for condos, is between November and April. We're right here on the fringe. We're getting ready to pivot. We're getting ready to get ready for heat, humidity, hurricane warnings, which typically drives away a lot of the buyers. A lot of the buyers, they go to North Carolina, they go to the Hamptons, they go to Canada, they go somewhere up north. Maybe they go to Europe, but they're not down here in South Florida because of everything going on with the weather. And typically the only buyers who are still around during the summer, besides locals, are going to be those looking for deep discounts. So if you are in the market for a deep discount condo, this might be a very interesting time for you, whether you're playing the distress market and or you're trying to hit up those sellers who need to get out because the cost of condo living has gone up. It's become way too expensive for them. And what they are looking to do now, because they couldn't sell during the winter, I'm talking about the sellers, many of them might be softened up. They might be willing to accept less than what they ultimately wanted. Remember, days of 2021, 2022, 2023, those were the days when everybody thought that their one kid was great at soccer, the other one was a honor roll student, their significant other was good looking, their car was the best, their job was the best. It's all changing now. Now we're getting back to reality. Now we are basically getting to a moment where the numbers are taking over. The days of multiple listings coming in and buyers bidding up pricing, those days are gone. Now it's all about discount, discount, discount. If you're a buyer, I recommend you lowball, 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 and keep lowball until you get a number that makes sense. And if you are on the sell side, you should have sold. We told you to sell. We told you coming into November when we were beginning the 2025, 2026 South Florida winter buying season. If you didn't sell at that point, now you basically need to buckle up because you might be stuck with that condo up until Thanksgiving. Yep, you heard me right. I'm talking about turkey. I am talking about the long holiday. I'm talking about the cornbread. I'm talking about the stuffing. I'm talking about the battles that go on when all the family comes together and they talk politics and they talk everything else. That might be your next opportunity to get out if you're a seller at the price that you necessarily want. Because what I see going on as we go into the summer buying season is probably going to be some very challenging times for sellers and for buyers. Low ball, low ball, low ball, be firm on your price. And if you hit that price, go ahead and pull the trigger and go forward and try to take down that property with the dry powder you got sitting on the side. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. It's Thursday. It's 4 o'clock. That means we're talking distressed condo market. And what we call this program is called Condo Capitalism. Condo Capitalism is based on this idea that there are always values on the street as long as you have the information. You can go in there. You can take advantage of what the market is presenting to you. There's arbitrage moments. There's little niches you can hit. There's always a deal to be had as long as you are using the numbers and you're not getting caught up in the FOMO, the fear of missing out. You're not getting caught up in all the marketing. And we do marketing very well down here in South Florida. We've been doing it since the 1920s. People like George Merrick in Coral Gables, people like Carl Fisher, Miami Beach, Addison Meisner up in Boca Raton. These people were the kings. They were the originators. They were the creators of this FOMO type of perspective, trying to get people to come down here. This is the fountain of youth. This is the place where you're going to make a ton of money. And what happened 100 years ago is that they bid up the market, and ultimately it was the old Wall Street saying, the stairs up and the elevator down. we are right now on the brink of something that's probably going to get pretty interesting. If you are a buyer, I'd encourage you, spend some time concentrating on self-work condo market, because this thing is starting to get really, really, really interesting. The fact that you got the possibility today based on an asking price, you got a shot at 20 different condos. Now, I'm not going to tell you these are rock star condos. I'm not telling you that by any means, but yet you can get into a condo for less than 100 grand. That's the ask. If you were to negotiate it down, you're probably going to get an even better value. Let me hit you guys with some general parameters before we start to really drill down and get into it. Right now, there's 474 distressed properties on the market right now. That's a combination of a short sale as well as an REO, a bank owned, a foreclosure, whatever you want to call it. So you got two categories. You got short sale and you got the REO. I explained to you a short sale basically means you bought, you borrowed, and now you are upside down and you need to get out. And the only way to get out is bringing in a buyer, going to the bank and convincing the bank, listen, banker, you don't want to go through the foreclosure process, which could take a year. You're not going to get paid. You're not going to get special assessments. There might be damage to the unit. The refrigerator might be gone. Might be all kinds of stuff. Some banks will go ahead and say, you know what, let's just take the haircut up front. Let's not go through the process, legal fees, and the whole rigmarole of what it is. And some people will do a short sale. Increasingly, what you're seeing is the REOs, the bank owns the foreclosures. And the way that happens, and talk to your attorney will give you all the details. But generally speaking, based on what I've seen, what will typically happen is you don't pay your mortgage for 60 days. Maybe you don't pay your maintenance fees for 60 days. The creditor, whether it be the condo association and or it be the lender, they then will file a notice of lis pendens or a default. And at that point, they begin the foreclosure process. If you're homesteaded in a property, I've been told by attorneys, if you're homesteaded in a property, it could take up to a year ultimately to get the foreclosure, because Florida provides added protection in Florida for your primary residence. And if you're not homesteaded, meaning you're not getting the tax break, you're not getting the added benefit, that could be as quick as 4 months, depending on whether or not, the owner who's getting foreclosed, whether or not they fight it or they just kind of let it go. That's what happens. So once the property goes through a foreclosure, the bank ends up with it. They now got to reposition the properties. Bankers don't want to run properties. They don't want to be property managers. They want to go to lunch and they want to hand out loans. And when a property goes bad, the last thing they want to do is have to deal with it. And what they hate dealing with is special assets or REOs. So a lot of it during the Great Recession. Not really seeing a lot right now. Right now, it only represents both on the bank-owned, REO, foreclosure, whatever you want to call it, as well as the short sale. It's only coming in about 1.9% overall in the marketplace of the overall number of units on the market. Right now in South Florida on the market, about 25,500 condos, of which you're going to find 474 or so are going to be in distress, primarily REOs and some short sales. But the short sale numbers starting to increase. The REO numbers starting to come down as people are starting to identify the deals, and they're kind of going in forward and they're kind of taking advantage. Now, in terms of the REOs and some of the properties that we're seeing, where are they sort of located? Many of these tend to be in the western suburbs. They tend to be in what I would call Hendelandia if you're in Dade County. They're going to be in West Broward County. And some of them, surprisingly, are in Delray Beach and Boynton Beach. If you don't know where that is, when you get into Palm Beach County, when you're coming from the south, coming from Fort Lauderdale, taking I-95 north, as soon as you get into the town or into the county, you get into Boca Raton. Above that will be Delray Beach. Above that will be Boynton Beach. And ultimately, you'll end up at West Palm Beach. Delray Beach as well as Boynton Beach, you're starting to see some REOs that are starting to hit under 100 grand. Again, are these quality properties? No, they're not quality properties. But if you're buying into a place that's trading for, let me see what the average is, and I'm going to show some numbers. If you're buying into a place where the average price is $78,000 a door, that means you need $780 a month rent. Now, is there going to be a special assessment? Potentially. Is there going to be work that needs to be done? Most likely. But if you're break even based on the 1% rule and, you're a preliminary evaluation, if you break even $780 a month and you're able to get, I don't know, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, numbers might kind of make sense. And remember, these are asking prices. This isn't necessarily what it's going to trade for. So that should give some hope. That should give some inspiration for anybody who's going to hang out down here in the summer for the heat, the humidity, and hurricane warnings. You might have some opportunities sooner rather than later, sort of get into this game. And that's what I want to talk to you about. So let's go ahead. We're going to pull up some data. We're going to share some data with you. You'll be able to check out all the data. You'll be able to get a sense of it. Remember, I do these podcasts at 4:00 weekdays during the winter buying season. We're going to be announcing our new schedule tomorrow when we get into May the 1st. We're going to be changing for the summer buying season because we do winter when you shop and we do summer basically when your deals close and you really kind of get in there and kind of grind it out. We traditionally use our summers to go ahead and add new things and adjust new things and change things So we'll be coming out with a brand new schedule as to how we're going to approach the summer. Winter, you buckle up and you hold on and you deal with everybody's in town. Summer, you start to build stuff because everybody's in the Hamptons. They're in North Carolina. They're in Europe. They're in all that type of stuff. But we're always giving you podcasts. We're always giving you information, and it's always going to be a condo talk, and it's never, ever, ever. And I promise you this, it's not going to be the Chamber of Commerce talk. It's not the sell side talk. We don't believe in this camp that trees grow to the moon. 1,000 people a day might have been coming to Florida. I don't think they're coming anymore. If you look at the latest Census Bureau data, international passenger traffic, it's down. It's down. What happened to being a gateway to Latin America? What happened to everybody being here? What happened to Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook coming? What happened with Larry Page of Google coming? What about all the Zoopla? Well, that might be a case of FOMO. That might be a case of the sell side industry simply trying to promote it, trying to stoke it, trying to get people to buy into this concept that everybody wants to be here, and therefore the prices are justified. And what I would tell you, give me the other side of that trade, because these prices are not justified. I don't think they're going to hold up. And if you remember, I predicted back in January 2025, we need a 40% price cut in order to get back in line with what's going on. And we are seeing price cuts. We're finally starting to see a crack in pricing. Pricing is starting to pull back. We would anticipate in the summer, buyers who were chasing deals are going to be very, they're going to have some fun. They're probably going to see some sellers who start to cave. And as they start to see the sellers start to cave, remember, 4 deals in a unit, in a building, will reset the entire pricing. That means when they were going up, it only took 4 to jack up the prices. As they go down, 4 will reset the pricing downward, much like the game of Tetris. But because you're watching this live, you're going to see all the information. But what I will tell you from this point forward, once this video is over, we're going to go ahead and we're going to edit it. We're going to adjust the sound. We will put in place a template in terms of the look. And then we're going to put it behind a paywall. If you guys want to take advantage and watch this video on demand, you're going to have to be a member of the Miami Condo Investing Club. We're building an ecosystem. We're building a community for those people who are interested in condos. We're not giving you the Chamber of Commerce talk. We're not giving you the sell side talk. We're giving you the straight talk as to what goes on in this marketplace, so you can go out there, take the information, and do whatever it is you want to do with it. So if you're a DIY buyer, you're going it alone, think of us as your personal consultant. If you are a buyer with a broker, your broker can pay attention. They can get involved. We don't have a problem with them, but have them join the club as well. And then finally, if you're on the listing side, if you're not selling a condo, you don't know if you should take that listing, you don't know what's going on in the marketplace, join the club. Sell side people are invited. Buy side people are invited. Lenders are invited. Regulators are invited. Gadflies are invited. We're grabbing the data. We're sharing our institutional knowledge. We're giving you an analysis. And we're helping you understand. Because right now, the pressure is building on the sell side. And they're going to do everything they can to try to convince you need to go in now and disregard the numbers, because we are the gateway to Latin America. 1,000 people a day move here and trees go to the moon. That's what they're going to try to tell you. We're going to give you the other side of that particular trade. So let's go ahead. We're going to share our data. We'll give you guys a glimpse of what we're seeing right now. And all this data was just pulled as of today.